This podcast contains discussion around depression and suicide. If you're experiencing feelings of sadness, depression, or thoughts of self-harm, stop and seek help now. There is someone waiting to talk to you right now on Lifeline's crisis hotline, 13 11 14, or call 000.
This podcast may also contain unintentional coarse language and political incorrectness.
Welcome to episode 2 of season 3 of You Wouldn't Be Dead for Quids. In this series, we're taking a closer look at the work of Dr. Kelly Turner and her book Radical Remission, Surviving Cancer Against All Odds. I'm Ruth Geis. I'm here to press the buttons and ask the question and introduce my good mate Graham Cotter, Radical Remission Coach and Schitt's Creek Tour Guide. Great to see you, Graham. How are you doing?
Wouldn't be dead for quids, Ruth.
Now, how is that little calf of yours? What's his name?
T-Bone.
T-Bone. Tell us about T-Bone. I think this is a beautiful story.
T-Bone, he's about 6-8 weeks old now. He was born, his mum's teats were too big. He's only a tiny little fella, so he couldn't get his mouth around them. So I used to have to put mum in the crush and try and milk her out, much to her disgust, while T-Bone waited patiently to get what I'd milked out, and then hopefully the teat was small enough to so for him to get his mouth around. It was a fairly long-winded process. So, but eventually it reached a point where I had to bite the bullet and feed T-Bone by hand, but Mum she still loved him and cared about him and all the rest of it. So she called to him and the rest of it. So he's out in the paddock. He's been out in the paddock with Mum, and just in recent times his feed's down to one a day. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah. So when I get home about 3 o'clock this afternoon, he'll be there waiting patiently and.
Patiently, in inverted commas.
and Mum will probably be hanging around the ridges there as well. She'll be there somewhere, so I'll give him a couple of bottles. He gets around about a litre and a half of special formula, and which is not enough, as he butts me up the backside on the way out the gate with his snotty, milky nose, and then he realises, well, I'm wasting my time here, so I'll head off down the back with Mum. So it won't be too long, and T-Bone and I will part company because he'll be a big boy.
Okay, beautiful. I guess we better get on with it, Graham. So in the last episode, we started on our journey to discover the 10 common factors employed by people who have survived cancer against the odds. Now, this is based on the work of Dr. Kelly Turner, author of Radical Remission and Radical Hope, which summarises her research into the radical remission of cancer after conventional medicine has failed, or by using conventional and alternative medicine at the same time in order to overcome a prognosis that has a less than 25% 5-year survival rate. So as a 2-time cancer survivor and rapid transformational therapist, Graham is passionate about suicide prevention and the treatment of depression, and was recently inspired to become a radical remission coach because it was the flip side of suicide and depression.
That's the case, Ruth. It struck me from the first time I actually got involved, and I've been involved with the radical remission side of things for quite a number of years, and it's only in recent times I had the opportunity to do the training and become the teacher coach in that space. So, but it's the thing that sort of attracted me to it was the fact that it is a flip side, and the thing about these 10 factors, they're just not for cancer patients. We can each employ these in our daily lives and have a more positive and healthy life. Today we're going to talk about intuition. And
so intuition, the Oxford Dictionary describes it as the ability to understand something instinctively without the need for conscious reasoning. So I guess, we've all heard of women's intuition and following a gut feeling.
There's two parts the back of your brain, that's where we refer to as the lizard brain, that controls your instinctual fight, that flight or fight response, and it's also connected. 100 million neurons they've measured now into your gut, so you get a gut feeling. So
it's real.
Oh, definitely.
So a gut feeling is real.
Oh, definitely. There's there's more and more research in that space, and trusting your intuition, and we really need to. We don't listen to it enough. We really don't, and more often than not, it's 100% on the money. Generally, the system's laying dormant, and we're not in touch with it. Until we feel threatened in some way, walking somewhere alone at night, being told you have cancer, and
yes, and that would certainly trigger the fight or flight response, of course.
Well, it certainly sets off a whole myriad of emotions, and I guess fight or flight would be one of them. Along with a lot of other feelings of shock and fear and lots of other things, and the fight or flight would be linked with that fear, which is.
So how does it work then? Is it the fight or flight happens, and it releases its hormones and stress, etc. So that's one part of it. But then the second part, these 100 million neurons, actually triggers a gut feel that, like, it spurs you into action or something, or.
Well, it's sort of. I think it sort of kicks in that heightened level of awareness about your physical self, and that would be the way I'd suggest it impacts on you, and that heightened awareness of it triggers a whole lot of hormones in your body as well, and I guess.
What are some of the things that your gut feeling might say? Would it be, I can fight this, or I'm not receiving the information I want, I feel like I need to get more information?
Well, I guess that heightened awareness is when you get that diagnosis. Usually, with that diagnosis, there's a lot more information, and as your mind processes that information, and your body's also doing exactly the same thing because it's hooked in there, and if you get a feeling, a gut feeling or whatever, to say, well, shit, I don't think that's right, or and there's a number of cases where. In the documented cases and recorded in Dr. Kelly's book, where that's the case. So no, I'm not going to. I don't believe that's going to be here in 6 months' time. Well, you know what you can do with that, because I will be, because
and my gut says something different.
Yeah, my gut says something different. That's not going to be me.
Okay, so don't be afraid to follow your gut.
Absolutely, it's so critically important, and the number of documented cases, and there's a number of them in that Radical Remission book where people said no, and trusted their gut to go in a different direction, and it's on the money more often than not.
And so, because in episode 1 we discussed the detrimental effect that fight or flight can have on your immune system, and what you're really aiming for is achieving the opposite. You're wanting to achieve a rest and repair response to get those immune boosting hormones pumping through your body.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. The intuition is sort of normally it'll come as a short, sharp knowing, a knowing within yourself that it's something that you can't, ignore.
But can you access it any other way?
Yeah, you can. Basically, like just being peaceful and quiet. That's why it's listening to your inner self. Part of the meditation that I do on a daily basis is increasing that level of awareness of my physical self and the environment around me and the values that define me. And I actually spend some time turning on those head brain and heart brain and that gut brain and have them all turned on, tuned in, tapped into. The energy that's flowing through me.
So the thing is, you don't have to go into fight or flight to access your intuition.
Yeah.
You can access it. One way would be through meditation.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. But the thing is that it's having that awareness to recognise it and listen to it. And it doesn't necessarily pertain to health. Like I mean to say, there's, you might be doing something, about to do something, and you said, oh, I do it this way, and you ignore it, and then you think, oh, you get to the end of what you were doing and say, well, I should have done it. I should have listened to my gut. I should have, and we get those signals all the time. But
so we need to get better at going with our gut, don't we?
Yeah, listening to our inner self. We're too focused on the noise, and I guess that's the way I describe it. There's so much noise around us, we don't hear ourselves.
And so, if only we knew someone, Graham. If only we knew someone who could help us with mindfulness and meditation to access our intuition. Anyone, Graham?
Not off the top of my head, Ruth, but come and have a yarn to me anyway. So you never know. So, I'm in this space for a reason, because I genuinely care about people and the world we live in today. We really do need to have an individual reality check and take time for ourselves.
So it is about being able to stop, listen, and relax.
Oh, definitely, but listen to yourself, your inner self, and just a number of things that like empowerment and even yoga and those sorts of Tai Chi, and because when you're doing those exercises or having that quiet space, and a big thing now is just being in nature, walking in the park, and it's surprising, the answers that we find within ourselves in that quiet space.
Yeah, in that natural space. Now, look, if you do need help to do that and your gut is telling you to reach out and learn more about the 10 common factors of radical remission, then Graham is running workshops that are good not just for those receiving cancer treatment, but also for carers, for spouses, friends, family, or even if you're just interested in a healthier way to live. But now, what is coming up for us in episode 3?
What's coming up, Ruth, is empowerment, which is critically important. Actually, you really have to empower yourself, because at the end of the day, we have the answers within us, and we keep looking outside to the direction and what have you. But it's up to us as individuals to empower ourselves in every aspect of our lives.
You've been listening to the Radical Remission coach, Graham Cotter. We will catch you very soon for episode 3. In the meantime,
remember, our minds respond to the words we say and the pictures we make. Change the words, change the pictures, change your life.